Good afternoon. It is July 11th, 2016. I'm sitting outside the Old Bailey in central London. This is, as a building, one of the most famous symbols of justice in the world. I am pleased to report that I was able to observe a criminal trial. I was wrong, and I'm happy to report that I was wrong. I had read several places that in England the public didn't have a right to observe justice. Yes, they do. So I'm very pleased about that. Before I discuss what I was able to watch, I just want to say a couple of things. Why I do this. I believe that justice is not the answer, justice is the process. And not only is observing justice about keeping the government on track, but there's nothing we can do to bring back the dead, and there's nothing we can do to unwrong wrongs. We can learn from them, however. I've said since before I was even in college that I think courtrooms are sometimes the best classrooms because they're actual situations and they're actual analysis of situations. All that theory aside, I was able to watch a trial in Spain, which is part of the inquisitorial system. In Spain, judges ask witnesses questions and then the judges argue about the facts. Britain is an adversarial system like the US, where the attorneys ask witness questions, and the attorneys present opposing arguments to a jury about the facts. The judge just interprets law and process. I have no idea which system works better, in truth, but definitely what I saw today demonstrates the value of the adversarial system in my mind. I'm not going to be specific with identifying the case. It is an active case. I want to have respect for the family. I'm not from this country, and I want to be careful until the jury's made a decision about giving you what specific case this was. But it's a nightmare case. It's a 33-year-old murder case. It was a cold case file. The victim was a 17-year-old girl. She was raped and murdered in her family's home during the middle of the day when the family was out. They came back and found her. The defendant was linked to the crime by DNA as well as fingerprints. The prosecution's theory was that the defendant, who was 22 at the time that the crime was committed, was stalking the women in the family and struck when he saw that the 17-year-old was home alone, that he knocked on the door, she answered the door, and that he attacked her, chased her upstairs where she was murdered in the bathroom. The defense is claiming that the daughter and the defendant had a secret relationship. That's a night and day different theory, and here's what they're basing it on. So, the fingerprint matching the defendant was found in the bathroom on the bathtub, but nowhere else in the home except for a music album cover. There were at least 6 unidentified fingerprints found along the route of the attack that the prosecution believed that the attacker took, and they judged that by earrings and other signs of a struggle that happened between the front door and the bathroom. There were at least 6 unidentified fingerprints. There had been several construction workers in the house in the weeks leading up to the attack, all of them according to what I heard today. And let me stop right there. I heard closing arguments today. I should have said that before. I did not hear any testimony. This is the attorney's interpretations of testimony and evidence. According to both attorneys, all the construction workers had been ruled out, leaving, and the prosecution said that just left the defendant. His fingerprint didn't belong there. The defense is saying they had a relationship. Why would a rapist be touching a musical album? Also a key point with the fingerprints were that no fingerprints whatsoever were found in the bathroom. And the bathtub had water in it. So they know that somebody had touched it at one point, but then they are concluding that it had been wiped. At least the defense is concluding that it had been wiped. This was a family of at least 4 people were living there. There should have been some fingerprints. The defense spent a lot of time on the fingerprints and pointed out, even asked the jury, what were you, and